Today, we're gonna see the Christmas story unfold and what it means for your life today. Hey, welcome to Crossroads and Merry Christmas. I'm Andy, the community pastor for Crossroads Anywhere, and Crossroads is a church that you can be a part of no matter where you live or what you believe about God. We're so glad that you joined us, and we hope that you come back again and join us again in the new year. New services come out every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and you can watch anytime on your phone or TV just by downloading the Crossroads Anywhere app. Now, let's all take a deep breath. Christmas can be stressful, right? But at the same time, it is supposed to bring us joy, peace, and hope. The stress of family, shopping, and traffic, and all that at Christmas just couldn't be more different from what Jesus offers. So what are we missing? Sometimes I'm tempted to think that just by being Christmas, I'm gonna magically feel better, but that's not the way it works. We can't wait for the holidays, but then they've come and gone again. But what if Christmas is more than just a holiday? I believe that we can experience hope and joy this Christmas. And today, we're gonna hear from our senior pastor, Brian Tome, about the real story of Christmas and what it means for our lives today. Another really cool thing this year is at the end of the experience in the Crossroads app, you'll be able to explore an interactive digital Christmas story that goes along with today's service. It'll put you in the middle of the story, and it's a fun and a meaningful experience to share with family and friends this Christmas. There's so many opportunities that you can discover in the app made just for you, just to help you connect with God, like healing groups, nights of prayer, daily journal reading, all kinds of great stuff. We're gonna start off our time by singing some classic Christmas songs. And these aren't just sing-alongs, they're actually songs about and to Jesus. When we put our focus on Him, it takes it off of ourselves and the stress of everyday life and turns it towards that peace, that hope, and that joy that only Jesus can bring.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Let's sing Joy to the World. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room. In heaven and nature sing. In heaven and nature sing. Shout it out! In heaven and nature sing. Oh, rejoice in the Lord always. Rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause He's here today. Gotta give Him the praise. Gotta give Him the praise. Rejoice in the Lord always. Rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause He's here today. Gotta give Him the praise. Songs implode while fields and floods, rocks, hills and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. Oh, rejoice in the Lord always, rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. He's here today, gotta give Him the praise, gotta give Him the praise. Rejoice in the Lord always, rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause He's here today, gotta give Him the praise. Yeah. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nation prove the glory of His righteousness and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love. Oh, rejoice in the Lord always, rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause He's here today. Gotta give Him the praise, gotta give Him the praise. Rejoice in the Lord always, rejoice, 'cause He's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause He's here today. Gotta give Him the praise. 'cause he's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause he's here today. Gotta give him the praise. Put your hands together, come on. Oh, we say rejoice. All over the room say rejoice. Yeah, yeah, rejoice. Yeah, 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 rejoice. In the Lord always rejoice, 'cause he's made a way. Rejoice, 'cause he's here today. Gotta give him the praise. so good to be together. I'm so glad you're here today. Hey, why don't you turn to somebody around you? Just say, Merry Christmas. Glad to be here with you. Then you can have a seat.
For hundreds of years, God told his family that he would send them a king, someone who would rescue them and make everything right. Now, when you hear the word king, you probably think of this, right? A powerful ruler with a crown and fancy clothes who's big and strong and cool. Well, that's what God's family thought too. They were expecting a mighty leader and a powerful warrior, someone who would defeat their enemies and rule with an iron fist. Well, finally, after all that time, God was ready to send the rescuer, his very own son, Jesus, to be with us on earth. And when the rescuer arrived, he was a baby. Wait, a baby? Like a tiny, chunky, giggling, crying, constantly pooping baby? But people were expecting a powerful king, someone big and strong and fierce. And baby Jesus didn't seem to be any of those things at first. People probably wondered, could a baby king be a powerful ruler? Could a baby king defeat their enemies? Could a baby king do anything other than sleep and eat? Some people thought that a baby king just wasn't going to work, but others said, you don't get it. This king is different because, as it turns out, yes, the baby king was going to make all the difference in the world, just not in the way people thought he would. As baby Jesus became a grown-up, he loved his enemies and served others before himself. He healed people of sickness and brought people back to life. He took care of the poor, gave his life for us, and rose from the dead. He showed us all what God's kingdom is like. And he did it by loving God and loving people. This is the king that God had promised, a good, loving, powerful, praiseworthy king, born as a baby who was helpless and small, and probably a little smelly.
Matthew 2:3-11. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, in Bethlehem of Judah, for so it is written by the prophet, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least who will among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. When Herod summoned the wise men secretly and ascertained from them what time the star had appeared, he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, go and search, diligently for the child, and when you found him, bring me word, that I too may come and worship him. After listening to the king, they went on the way, and behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Amen.
Ascertained, exceedingly. Someone's been having their parents read to them. Impressive. Way to go, Wyatt. Way to go. Hi, my name is Brian Thom. I'm what's known as a senior pastor around here. It's great to have everybody here as we celebrate Christmas Eve. Let's pray before we go any further, okay? God, thank you for giving us time to slow down and also to look up to one of the greatest things that's ever been told. And it's true. Help me to talk about it clearly, and I pray you would clearly work in every heart right now, no matter where we are. And I pray these things according to the character and identity of Jesus. You know, Christmas is a beautiful time, and I want to talk about the basic story of Christmas. But I also know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we're going to take a little stroll through a book today. This is sort of classic Christmas, isn't it? Just beautiful images, snow, even though there's very rarely snow in the Middle East. Reindeer, nature scenes. There's something great about the nostalgia of Christmas, the beauty of Christmas, and I might even say the actual transcendence of Christmas. And probably all of us in here have something that makes us love Christmas. You have some favorite Christmas memory. For me, my favorite thing is my kids have got married, and what happens is, obviously, Lib and I, we are the least important of all of their in-laws because we don't get them on Christmas Eve or Christmas. We get them the day after. So they all go someplace else, then we finally get them actually on the evening of Christmas, which actually works out really well for us because we have a bit of a longer holiday that way. And whether it's Christmas night, Christmas Eve, whatever it's been, everyone comes over and we light every candle we possibly can in the kitchen, and we put all kind of finger foods out, and we talk about things, and we set like dreams, like what would be dream things that God might do in our lives over the next year. We write them down, and we also revisit from last year what people said. It's wonderful, and that's just one of the many memories I have. I love Christmas, except there's one thing I don't like about Christmas. You know what that is? That's the stress. I don't like the stress of Christmas. I don't like the chaos of Christmas. I don't like the endless meetings that have to be had, the endless holiday parties, the endless expectations. It's stressful. In fact, some of you may be here and you're stressed to be here. You're stressed that you had to deal with traffic. You're stressed you're going to have to deal with traffic on your way out. You're stressed because maybe your friend invited you and you're just trying to make that friend like you so they keep you as your friend. And it's like one more obligation, and many of us, Christmas is just chaos and calamity and stress. Today, we're going to use one of the things we got. We're going to use this today, and if you're streaming with us online or wherever you are right now, you could just have a pen of some sort, and you can write on something. You can still be able to do this exercise. What is it about stress? You know what stress is? Whatever you stress as most important in your life is what brings you stress. Our stress comes from what we stress. So if you stress cleanliness, then you stress when your baseboards aren't cleaned every week or every month, whatever it is. If you stress finances, because that's kind of like the most important thing, then you stress whenever the stock market takes a dive. And many of us, for our whole life, we've been told to have a family and family beautiful. We've been told what a picture of a family is. And we stress that family is important. And then we find ourselves in a place of life where my life doesn't line up with a Hallmark ideal. And I've been stressing that this is important, and now it doesn't fit, and now I'm stressed because what does this mean for me? We go from the beauty of Christmas, the serenity, but unfortunately, there's just chaos and stress for us. We have stress over finances, maybe. I learned that, I read in the New York Times last couple of weeks that young entrepreneurial kids who are tech savvy are now making PowerPoint presentations for their parents on the gifts that they should get for Christmas. Yeah. Apparently, it's pretty effective. Here's what one young lady says. She says, some of my family members, especially my dad and cousins, were like, wow, this is a lot, or wow, this is a little ridiculous, she said. I'm just like, I know, but I'm extra. And somehow, in the chaos of all of this, we're trying to remember the beauty of this and actually get connected. Can I get connected not just to Christmas, but can I get connected to Christ? Can I get connected to the original story that started it all? Can I get connected to the one who changed history and who we date time after? Is there a way for me to get in sync with him? Yes, we can. Let's turn the page and let a picture talk for us. Here we have the classic manger scene, the classic nativity set. And you wouldn't know it by looking at these things that we may have maybe in your entryway or under your tree, this classic creche or the family of Jesus at Christmas. You wouldn't know this, but for them, this was unbelievably chaotic and stressful. Giving birth, first of all, is very stressful. If you've ever done it or you've seen it, very stressful. Giving birth when the rumor has it that you say you're bearing a child and you're a virgin. This caused a great deal of turmoil and a great deal of stress for Mary and Joseph as they were under communal pressure and they were being shamed. Add to that, they're a family that is on the run. They're also a family that's the working poor. How do we know that? Well, we know that because when Jesus is wrapped in swaddling cloths, that sounds so cute, but it's not cute. It's a sense of stress because they don't have enough money to buy a full-size blanket. So they grab logs, crabs, no, neither one of those, rags and claws and wrap it around their baby. They don't have a crib, so they put them in a manger. A manger is a feeding bowl for cattle inside of a stable, which is where Jesus was born because there was no room at the inn. This is chaos. This is actually, I might even say, terror-inducing for them. This is stressful for them. So if you at Christmas are ever stressed out or chaotic, the good news is you're getting back to the original Christmas. Screams and cries and blood and unmet expectation and not fitting in, all of this is part of this beautiful, serene scene that wasn't that serene. In the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 13, it says this, as an angel comes the shepherds. Suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among those whom he is pleased." Peace. You may see inside of your little creche or inside of your manger scene, if you have one of those at home, if you've seen one of those, you got barn animals in there, even though there's no reference of barn animals in the Bible account. Maybe they were there since it was a manger. You've got magi, we'll talk about in a moment. You've got shepherds. You got people from every economic spectrum. The shepherds were the grunt worker, blue collar guys who weren't respected at all. And they hear from the shepherd. The magi were the elitists from the east who had very, very, very high incomes and brought expensive gifts. And all of them get to be in on the peace. I love this. Peace. Peace of him who is pleased. Have you ever considered that God's pleased with you? You ever considered he's not an angry entity up in the skies making a list and checking it twice and can't wait to whack you? Have you ever considered that God's actually for you? Have you ever considered that God actually likes you? Have you ever considered that God's actually in a good mood? I was out on a bike trip years and years ago, and I was over in Albuquerque, and Albuquerque is sort of this festival they had is sort of the Mardi Gras of Albuquerque. Our trip was ended. We just needed to find a place to have a shower, so we went in and spent the night, and it was pretty fun. In the midst of all the cacophony that was happening, somebody was holding this sign up. God is in a good mood. I like that. God is in a good mood. He's in a good mood, and he brings peace on whom his favor rests. Here's the thing. God doesn't necessarily bring a party. God doesn't necessarily bring a pay raise. God doesn't necessarily bring the perfect person into your life. All those things are fine, and getting all those things is fine, but none of those things will actually bring you peace. A little shot of happiness, but not actual bring you peace. When Jesus comes into your life, when Jesus comes into the world, he brings actual peace that actually lasts, and there's a favor from God, this verse says, that's actually on your life. Let's turn the page. Let's allow a picture to be worth 1,000 words. I think this is the world's largest pop-up book. I'm just saying. Have to be very tender with it. Here we have what's known as the three magi, or the three wise men, even though we're not sure that there was three. And even though the Bible has a word for them, which is most likely translated magi, which means that these were likely people from a Zoroastrian cult that were in the far eastern region, who were very, very spiritual and very, very well healed, but they likely didn't understand the actual God of the Old Testament, but they were spiritual people, or people who were interested in the non-material. I find it interesting that these guys make their way to see Jesus, and they're maybe among the least qualified people to do this, because they don't believe in the Bible. They're not keeping the rules in the Bible. They don't know things that are in the Bible. They're not trying to play some religious game. And that's the way many of us are. Many of us don't come to God because we're like, I don't know all the rules. I don't know that I can keep all the rules. I don't know that I understand all the ins and outs. I don't know that I can do that. So it's just overwhelming. I'm just not going to do it. It's like someone trying to pick up a golf club as an adult when you never have before. It's just overwhelming. I can't start now. I can't do it now. I can't try a new thing. And many of us can't try a new spiritual thing. Won't try a new spiritual thing because we think we're not qualified, because we think we'll never be good enough in it. That's how religious people think. Jesus didn't come to start a religion. He came to start a relationship with you. And these folks didn't understand the rules. All they knew was something was happening, and we have to go there right now. Here's how Matthew 2, verse 1 puts it, which is a section that's right before what we just read earlier. It says this: Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose, and we've come to worship him. The religious leaders, they didn't come to find Jesus, but these people came to find Jesus. They were seekers. There's kind of a cheesy saying, but it's true. Sometimes things that are cheesy are still true. The saying is, you may have seen on a bumper sticker, wise men still seek him. Wise men, wise women still seek him. We realize I can't bring peace to myself. I can't handle the chaos that's in the world. I can't save myself. There's certain problems we got up against that I just need God. I can't do it. And I believe part of the reason why there's so much mental illness in our world, so much suicide, all those statistics of emotional and spiritual well-being, all of them are tanking. I think it's because our culture is increasingly believing you're on your own, you're an accident of evolution, and there's goo, and then there is you, and you have no backstop, you have no safety net. There's nobody who really loves you, who's really powerful. And if I didn't believe and know that there was a God who did love me and has shown his power for me, I'd hate to think where I would be or what I would do. And so we seek. We don't have all the answers, but we seek because we want to find a peace that passes understanding, and we want to worship him. These wise men came to worship him. These magi came to lay down their gifts, expensive gifts, gold, frankincense, myrrh. It's a whole nother talk to talk about those things, but just suffice to say, these people laid down things of value, and today we're going to have the ability to lay down something of value. Why would they do this? They did this because they wanted to worship this king. In the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1 to 5, that's one of the best descriptions of who Jesus was, because Jesus didn't originate in Bethlehem at Christmas time. He's always been as God. Here's how John puts it. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. He was in the beginning with God. All things are made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. It says that at the beginning of all of creation, Jesus was present. When he goes from heaven and he takes on flesh and is born, it is a massive sacrifice. It is chaotic for him. This would be like going from being in the heavens, being worshiped by angels, to now being a human, not only that, a baby, not only that, a baby in poverty, not only that, a baby that has a scandalous start by many people's estimation. I mean, it's as hard as it could be. It'd be like you or I becoming a slug. You or I becoming a bed bug. Like, I don't want to be that. I know. God didn't either, I don't think. But why did he do that? He did it so that you and I would understand God. He took on flesh so we could get him. If you want to understand what God is, you look to Jesus. Jesus says, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He says, I and the Father are one. These folks go on a journey and they seek the one who is. What they lay down, something we're going to be able to have a moment with right now. Go ahead and take that crown out, and maybe take your Sharpie out as well. This represents the final chapter for us today. The crown is the thing that you stress. The crown is the thing that's the most important thing to you. It's the thing that your life revolves around. When the wise men come to Jesus, when the Magi come to Jesus, they lay down their gifts and they lay down their crown. They say, you're here and we're here. Even though you're a little baby, in terms of spiritual authority and importance, you are more than me. And they weren't playing games with him at all. They came as seekers and they found him and they bowed down and they worship him. What does it mean to worship him? We can worship him when we sing. That's fine. That's good. But the ultimate worship God is looking for is, will you and I lay down our crown? Will we lay down the thing that stresses us? Will we not stress over the thing that stresses us, because that is the most important thing to me. My family beautiful, my body beautiful, my financial picture beautiful, my whatever it is beautiful. Will I lay that down and recognize that that thing is actually my crown? That's my identity. That's the most important thing to me. And will I take that off and put it at the feet of Jesus? If you know what that is for you, if you know what the source of your chaos is, if you know what it is that you stress, that brings you stress, what it is, in other words, that you worship, even though you may have never put it that way, I want you to just write it on there. Write down that thing. What is it? I've got a sweater on, if you're curious by the way. I put on there aging. I have a sweater on, you know, it's kind of ugly, I know it. You tell me, I know. I've been wearing this sweater for 25 years on Christmas Eve. 25 years. Pull it out, Christmas, I have a lot of memories associated with it, and I just realized, my goodness, 25 years. How long have I been doing this for? What's going on with me? I don't look the same as I did way back when. How things are changing in my life, things that need to change in my life. And will I embrace the things that need to change in my life? And go with the seasons, the new seasons God's taken me in, or not? Is that my crown? What is yours? What is the thing that everything revolves around? Let's get ready to worship God right now. We're gonna have a really profound moment with this. Just when you think the service is over, it's not over. Hold on to this. We're gonna have a very profound moment with this. But let's use our voices right now and let's stand and let's worship Him.
Put your hands together like this. All together. We're gonna say, your kingdom come and your will be done. Oh, Father, let your kingdom come. Oh, Father, let your will be done. On earth as in heaven, right here in my heart. That's our prayer. Oh, Father, let your kingdom come. Oh, Father, let your will be done. On earth as in heaven, right here in my heart. Here's what He said to pray. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us as we forgive the ones who sinned against us. Forgive them and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil one. Oh, let your kingdom come. Father, let your kingdom come. Father, let your will be done on earth as it is. Father, let your kingdom come. Oh, Father, let your will be done on earth
This Christmas can be different because of the story of Jesus. He wasn't just a baby, he was a king. And when we recognize that and put him first in our lives, we get the real hope, peace, and joy of Christmas. Like Brian said, this is a choice for you to make. Will you lay down your crown to Jesus and leave it behind, or will you keep doing what you've been doing? We're gonna have a chance to do this right now, wherever you are. In the Crossroads Anywhere app, if you click on the interactive Christmas story, you'll have a chance to put yourself into the Christmas story. There's a quote that I love that I heard that it says that the Bible isn't just the story of things that have happened, it's the story of things that are still happening today. And I think that's so true. The story of Christmas, of God, of Emmanuel coming to be with us in a world that's hurting and broken, of God's light shining in the midst of darkness, can be as true for you right now, wherever you are today, as it was 2,000 years ago. Download the Crossroads Anywhere app, click on the interactive Christmas story, and you'll have a chance to lay something down at the feet of Jesus, to put a crown at the feet of his throne, and to choose to move forward on a new path and to take a next step on your journey with God. And don't forget, as we wrap up Christmas and head towards the end of the year, we actually have a year-end service. It's online only, and we don't want you to miss it. It's gonna set us up for a fantastic 2024. We hope to see you then. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
How are you going to spend your year? Are you going to do the same thing you've always done? Or are you going to go on a new adventure? Are you going to play it safe or take a risk? What if this year you pushed yourself, got outside your comfort zone, helped other people, went somewhere extraordinary? What if you discovered what God wants for your life, made new friends, and laughed until you couldn't breathe? There is no limit to what 2024 can look like for you. Don't miss Next Year with Crossroads.